I am Azza Ali from Al-Azhar University in Egypt. I have the honor to present this work in the conference under the title of The Potential Effect of Caffeine and Nicotine Co-Administration on the Induction of Alzheimer's Disease. Alzheimer's disease is a progressive neurodegenerative disease characterized clinically by cognitive decline and memory loss, and first described by the scientists Alzheimer. The pathological hallmarks of Alzheimer. This represents the normal brain, and this represents the brain of Alzheimer's disease, showing tangles and amyloid plaques. Abnormal cleavage of amyloid precursor protein leading to amyloid accumulation and aggregation. This represents the healthy neuron and the diseased neuron showing tangles. There are different types of Alzheimer's disease, either early onset or late onset. Aluminum is well established as a neurotoxin and suspected to link it with various neurodegenerative diseases, including Alzheimer's disease. Exposure of aluminum by any method, antacid, contamination of drinking water, and others. Aluminum binds to phosphate group of the RNA or GNA, and finally lead to elevated expression of APP or alter the expression of the oxidative markers G. Aluminum affects the CNS. It passes through blood-brain barrier and accelerates iron peroxidation of the cell membrane. It also produces many effects leading to abnormal gene expression. Caffeine and nicotine are the most commonly co-used psychostimulants. Caffeine present mainly in the coffee and the tea, and it has non-selective A1 and A2 receptor antagonists, thus has neuroprotection against different brain insults. It also increases cortical activity, energy metabolism, and extracellular acetylcholine concentration. In addition, it has antioxidant capacity and can prevent neuron from oxidative damage and reduce the risk of chronic degeneration disease. Nicotine is a major component of cigarette smoke and can improve cognitive function in Alzheimer's disease patients. The brain of Alzheimer's disease patients exhibit marked decrease in the nicotinic acetylcholine receptor binding, especially in the hippocampal region. Also, nicotine can induce its effect by acting on the nicotinic acetylcholine receptor in the hippocampus. It can protect from stress effect on the nicotinic acetylcholine receptor. Thus, nicotine can improve cognitive function in Alzheimer's disease patients. Nicotine also has many other mechanisms as antioxidant and can attenuate the impairment in the memory. The aim of the present work is to study the behavioral, biochemical, as well as the histopathological changes induced by both caffeine or nicotine during induction of Alzheimer's disease in rat, in addition to evaluate the influence of caffeine and the nicotine co-administration against aluminum-induced Alzheimer's disease in rat. Sprague-Dewey rats were used, and 5 groups, control groups, and aluminum chloride group, the model of Alzheimer's disease. The treated group received also caffeine, nicotine, or post-caffeine and nicotine co-administered together during the 5 weeks of the experiment. The behavioral tests in this work include forced swimming test, Morris water maze test, as well as conditioned avoidance test. The parameters in the first, the mobility score, swimming score, as well as climbing score. In the Morris Swiss, learning ability as well as memory trials. In the conditioned avoidance, the number of trials needed to avoid electric shock in the first and the second day of the experiment indicate learning and memory, short-term memory. The biochemical parameters measured in this work, acetylcholine esterase activity, as well as oxidative stress parameters or markers, MGA, SOG, as well as total antioxidant. In addition to histopathological examination of the brain. Results. As regarding the forced swim, aluminum chloride increase in mobility score as well as climbing score while decrease swimming score. Both caffeine and nicotine as well as co-administration can protect from the hopelessness behavior in the forced swimming test and can decrease immobility score, climbing score, while increase the swimming score. The effect of the combination was more pronounced in most cases. The Maurice water maze test, aluminum chloride increase latency to escape during the day 1, day 2, and the day 3. Caffeine and nicotine can decrease this latency time. The effect of the combination was also more pronounced. As regarding the memory trials, aluminum chloride decrease time spent for indicate decrease in the memory, while caffeine and nicotine increase this time. The combination, nicotine and the combination show good effect and more pronounced effect than caffeine alone. As regarding the conditioned avoidance test, the first day indicate learning, the second day indicate short memory. Aluminum chloride increase the number of trials to learn to avoid the food shock during the first day, and also increase the number of trials even during the second day indicate disturbance in the memory. Both caffeine and nicotine, as well as combination, decrease the number of trials in the first day as well as in the second day. The combination's effect of nicotine and the combination was more pronounced on the memory. As regarding the biochemical parameters, as acetylcholine esterase activity, aluminum chloride increase the activity of acetylcholine esterase, while both caffeine and nicotine and the combination decrease this level, this activity. The effect of combination was more pronounced. The oxidative stress parameters, aluminum chloride increase the MGA and decrease both SOG and the total antioxidant capacity. Caffeine and the nicotine decrease the MGA while increase SOG and the total antioxidant capacity. The effect of the combination was more pronounced on all these parameters. As regarding the histopathological examination, aluminum chloride showed degeneration and pycnosis in the hippocampus, as well as the gliosis and the congestion. Caffeine and the nicotine can protect from this effect. The effect of caffeine, the protection effect of caffeine was more pronounced than that of nicotine. Nicotine show gliosis and congestion, and the combination show protection effect against the degeneration on the hippocampus. This represents the brain of the control group intact with normal brain, and this is the brain with aluminum chloride showing neuronal degeneration and pycnosis in the hippocampus. After co-administration of caffeine and nicotine, normal histological structure of the hippocampus were shown. Conclusion. Aluminum chloride in the used dose level in our model can produce impairment of learning and memory. It also produces neuronal degeneration in the hippocampus and increase acetylcholine esterase and the MGA while decrease SOG and the total antioxidant capacity. Effect of caffeine. Caffeine can protect against neuronal degeneration in the hippocampus, decrease acetylcholine and increase antioxidant ability. The improvement in memory and learning not appeared in all behavioral tests as regarding caffeine. As regarding the effect of nicotine, improvement in learning and memory will shown. It is highly pronounced, and the decrease in acetylcholine and MGA, while increase in OCAGT and the total antioxidant, while the histopathological examination still showed mild gliosis in the striatum. Caffeine is based in the behavioral tests, while nicotine is based as regarding the caffeine is based in the histopathological protection, while nicotine is based as regarding the behavioral test and the memory. Effect of caffeine and nicotine co-administration both together, more pronounced protecting effect from learning and the memory impairment, as well as prevention of neuronal degeneration in the hippocampus, also decrease acetylcholine esterase MGA, while increase SOG and total antioxidant. In conclusion, co-administration of caffeine and nicotine can reduce the risk of neuronal degeneration in the hippocampus and attenuate the impairment of learning and the memory associated with Alzheimer's disease. The effect of co-administration was more pronounced than each one alone. Thank you for attention. Thank you. Yes.
I have just a quick comment. Let me see if I have a microphone. It's here. Yeah. Okay. It's on. It's interesting. I just want to highlight a concept that I think it's important to address human relevance. There was a very recent article that came out in the Journal of Alzheimer's Disease, I think this year, very few months ago, addressing through observational studies. It's actually an Italian study, pretty interesting, how caffeine consumption in humans can actually reduce the risk of Alzheimer's disease. So, I mean, I understand why you're doing this test using rats. That's a classic way to go. But honestly, I think it's important to look at human beings. I just want to give this take-home message, because otherwise we'll just keep on working on, this method, these models that are not really meaningful in the end. But thanks. I mean, I don't want to criticize what you're doing. It's just my opinion.
Experimental work on animal and on human need more.
I know. It's more time-consuming. It takes a lot of money and people and experts to work with. But we should make an effort really to start looking at people rather than animals. That's my opinion. I don't think it's just mine. I think it's
future to change
yeah, just take this into account. Thank you very much. Thank you.